Well, hello everyone. Big welcome to one of our live classes. And today I'm doing hat boxes. Lots of requests for hat boxes. People seem to be absolutely loving them. So this particular hat box is the smaller one, and everyone's always left with the smaller one in a set. You buy a set of 3, large, medium and baby, and everyone's left with it, and they're kind of saying, oh God, will I just use baby carnations? Will I do small flowers? And to be honest, no, I'm going to show you how we'll actually use a selection of larger flowers in it, and it's still going to work. But you listen, before we get started, who's watching? Where are you watching in from? And sure, obviously, give me the weather forecast around the world. Not too bad in Dublin, but sure, listen, it's always raining in Ireland. So if we get kind of a little dry patch in between the showers, sure, we're absolutely ecstatic. So great to see, good few of you watching. And again, remember, we'd love you to share the video, because when we come on to do these live classes, it's helping to build up our analytics. It's driving people hopefully to our website. So somebody might tag the website address there in the comments, www.kaysflowerschool.com. And if anybody would like to contact us, again, is there anybody there that is interested in training to be a florist? Is there somebody looking for a change of career? Are you a nurse? Are you an accountant? Are you a hairdresser? And you're peed off with your job and you're looking for something different? Have you thought about floristry? Drop us an email, info@kaysflowerschool.com. So as I said, it's the smaller version of the hat box. And what I've done is, with some anchor tape, is I've strapped on or secured on a lollipop stick. So what I'm now going to do then is just insert our lollipop stick down into our floral foam, just to incorporate the lid. I always think it's a nice idea to incorporate the lid. Now, foliage wise, I'm using very little foliage today. Look, just one little branch. Go out to your own garden. This is a little stem of euonymus foliage, okay? Think of anonymous and then put EU at the beginning of it, euonymus, and it's a beautiful foliage. Lovely in wedding work as well, and again for this kind of small, dainty work. Another thing is, at the moment we have a little bit of rosemary growing in the garden. So again, I'm just going to cut up a few little sprigs of that. So the scent of this is absolutely fabulous. So again, you don't need it. You can easily substitute it for eucalyptus, pittosporum, whatever you're able to get your hands on will do the job. Okay. Okay, so starting off, what I'm going to do is work around the outside. So just sticking into the floral foam, a little bit of the euonymus, a little bit of the rosemary, and so on. You don't have to go every second piece. I'm just kind of using, as foliage kind of comes to hand, I'm just inserting it into the floral foam, okay? You can see I'm leaving a little bit of space in between the pieces, so that's kind of important, okay? Don't have them crammed too close together. It's a mistake people make with foliage, especially when they're after going out to their own garden and they're after getting it. I'm just going to leave that one there in the centre. Is because they've got the foliage for free or for nothing, they feel like that they have to use loads and loads of it. And that would be a big mistake of what we would call DIY florists, or kitchen sink florists, or people who are working at home. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But listen, learn, take my tips on board. Don't use tons and tons of foliage, because flower shops don't, professionals don't, because foliage is actually expensive. And to be honest, on trend at the moment would be more flowers and less foliage in your displays. So all I've just done there is just around the top, I've just added a little bit of foliage here and there, but as you can see, plenty of room on the floral foam there for adding in the flowers, and again, nothing is too cramped. Now again, you look at a flower like that, this protea, and it's nearly as big as the hat box, and you'd say, oh gee, Max, she's not going to put that in there, is she? But I am, just to prove a point that you can get away with these larger flowers. So I'm going to place it right down onto the floral foam. Another flower that I'm going to use, okay, phone is just ringing there, she's just going to ignore it. Another flower I'm going to use is our Germany, or our gerbera. And again, you'll always get these bent kind of crooked stems on them. Always cut straight across. Don't cut on a slant, because it'll go into the oasis a lot easier for you. So again, just side over to the opposite side of the protea. I'm just going to add in just that one Germany just on its own. So this is where often in flower shops, at the end of the day or at the end of a delivery, you just have one of something left over and one of something. This happens to our students. When we send them out the flowers, okay, to give you an idea, they might need 14 roses, but we have to send them out 20. They might need 6 stems of lilies, but we have to send them out 10 stems. They might need 5 carnations, but I have to send them out 10. They might need 3 stems of lisianthus, but I have to send out 10. And the reason being, that's how the wholesalers work. Everything is sold in bulk, okay, or in minimum amounts. And as part of our courses here at Acces Flower School, we supply all your flowers, and you all get a fresh flower delivery direct from Holland. And you work with the exact same flowers that I work with. So if I'm making this arrangement as part of your demonstration classes, you are provided with the exact same material. But obviously Germanies are sold in 20s, and proteas are sold in 10s, and roses are sold in 20s. So again, you end up with lots of extra flowers. But people are often left then with one of something and they're saying, what can I do? This is a typical example of what you can do. Now this is an unusual flower, okay, it's a dianthus, and it just looks like a moss ball, to be honest. I'm just going to remove some of the foliage. And again, it's a biggish flower, and I'm going to place that down at the back, and I'm just going to recess it just a bit lower down into the arrangement. So again, it looks like it's foliage. And then I have some one rose. Isn't this just a beautiful rose? This will open up, it'll blow open, and just in the front here, between our roses, our protea and our Germany, I'm just going to place that rose. Like really all I have there at the moment is 4 flowers. It just shows you, you don't need loads and loads of material. Another flower that I have here is the bloom, or the shamrock. It's actually a chrysanthemum. It's a large chrysanthemum flower, but the blooms are shamrock blooms, or shamrock chrysanthemums is what they're called. And again, I'm going to cut one of these quite short, and I'm going to bring it into the side of the arrangement. It's just to pick up the greenery of the other green dianthus that I actually have in the arrangement so far. So again, I have 5 flowers, 5 large flowers in that arrangement. And this is a stem of orchids that again, I've been working, you know, on different days. I often just slip an orchid off. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stem. And by cutting the main stem, you'll be left with, say, 2 orchids on that stem or 1 orchid on that stem. Now, I actually only want the one, so I'm going to use this one here. I'm going to cut it on a slant. And just over to this side here, I'm just going to bring in my orchid flower. So again, push that down into our floral foam. So again, I have 6 large flowers in the arrangements there. And the last thing then is I have some lilies. Now I'm not going to use all the lilies, okay? But I'm just going to cut off that little sprig of buds. Do you see like that there? And again, I'm just going to cut it short, and I'm just going to place it down just here at the back side of the arrangement. It'll actually take them ages to open, but nobody will ever miss them off that stem. So I'll probably still use that stem in a completely different arrangement, you know what I mean, kind of as a filler. Now the next thing I have is a little bit of the caps, K-A-P-P-S, which is just something I'm going to use as a filler. There's an ambulance passing. For anyone that doesn't realise, we're actually opposite St James Hospital. So, and there's a roundabout on the South Circle Road which we're actually overlooking. And what happens is every time an ambulance goes past, you know, that way, puts on the sirens, and then everybody wonders here at the school what's actually happening. So what I'm just doing there is just adding in a little bit of the caps there. Can you see? Just as a filler. And the last thing I just need another little bit of greenery. So just hold on 2 seconds. Sorry about that. So just another little bit of foliage just for around the back here, just to finish it off, okay? And just while I was grabbing the greenery, I just grabbed another different variety of that caps, okay? It's a filler. Now if you're watching and you're saying, well, what could I use instead? You could use gyp, you could use wax flower, you could use September flower, you could use limonium, statuses, what else? Hypericum berry. To be honest, like, the list is endless. This would be kind of like more unusual, but like this arrangement, as I said, it's just kind of one to show you where we can use leftovers. So just here and there, I'm just going to stick this to one stem, just sticking little sprigs here and there, giving me a little bit of movement around the outside, kind of like where I didn't fill it all in with foliage, you know, that way. So you can see it gives a lovely little bounce. And then a little bit of it coming in between the flowers here and there as well. This lasts for ages. It actually just dries out in the arrangement. So I'm just going to bring this last little bit just up there at the back, just against the lid. And there you go. That's how you can use up that extra extra small hat box that comes in these sets, and everybody's left with a whole shelf of them because they never use them up. And everyone thinks that you'll have to use baby carnations or chrysanthemums or spray roses. You can see there I've actually added in 6 large flower heads. Most of them I just put one of the flower head in, and again tiny little bit of greenery out of the garden and a tiny little bit of filler, and there is the completed arrangement using that mounting material. Hope you enjoyed that class. Remember, any questions, comment underneath, and again if you have any questions about training as a florist, drop us an email, info@kaysflowerschool.com.